The question today is, how are you minding your own business? Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Minding Her Own Business. Today, I'm so excited to introduce our special guest. She's one of my closest friends in New York City and another amazing multi-hyphenate woman, Reilly. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
Guys, this is her first podcast.
Okay.
I'm so happy that you said yes. Well, let me give you a formal fancy intro. For those of you listening, Reilly is another career pivoter. She's fantastic. She's a former paralegal from the West Coast who moved to New York 4 years ago and now sells beautiful homes in Brooklyn and Manhattan. She's fueled by her sharp instincts, relentless drive, and advocacy, and is a little obsessed with setting records for her buyers and sellers, as well as continually pushing her own limits. She's a recovering empathetic perfectionist, fluent in Spanish and Portuguese, and also has a wholesome edge that helps clients move with clarity, confidence, and ease. So Reilly is all about the real win, building relationships. So Reilly, welcome to Minding Her Own Business. Thanks for making time to hang out with me today. I know there's so much going on in your life, and you still made time on a Friday to do this. How are you? How are you feeling?
I always make time for what's worth it, and you are worth it.
Oh,
it's worth it.
It is.
I'm excited to be here.
It is. We're going to have such a good chat today. And so let's talk a little bit and kind of start at the beginning. So you're a former paralegal. You lived on the West Coast. And then one day you decided, hey, I kind of want to move to New York. How did that come about? How did real estate come about? Walk us through that journey a little bit.
I was a paralegal in immigration, and it was a very heart-filling work, and I really loved my clients. It meant a lot to me. It still means a lot to me today, what I used to do. But I ended up burning out just because it was really hard to work under the first administration of our current administration in that field. And I just realized that law wasn't for me long term, like I thought it had been. Realized I did not want to be an attorney as I thought I did. And so I kind of went on a soul searching journey to figure out what was next for me and what was right for me. And I did some personal development courses on ranches in New Mexico and decided that I wanted to move to New York. I came to New York and I just couldn't get New York out of my mind.
Yeah.
And so I knew I had to move here. And a few mentors of mine told me that I would be really great in real estate. And at first I thought, absolutely not. That sounds really gross. I did not have a great impression of real estate agents. But then I realized that these women were leading lives that I would love to live. And since I was already moving to New York, what a better place to do real estate than in glamorous New York. And so I just moved here and dove into real estate simultaneously.
What about their lifestyle really intrigued you or made you want to kind of replicate in your own life? What was it that really drew you to it and made you say yes?
That's a great question. I think the biggest thing is that they were really in the driver's seat of their lives, and they were controlling their lives, their businesses. They had a lot of time for their families, and there was no limit to what they could achieve and were achieving. And I really wanted to work for myself and have my own business, but I didn't have a product or idea that I wanted to launch. And there's a kind of a plug and play model with real estate. There's a lot of money in real estate, properties and homes and interior designs, and working with people and helping people and forming really close, connected relationships with people. And I heard enough times from people that I would be great at it, where I finally decided to listen and just go for it. And I told myself, if I can figure it out within 1 year, I'll stay the course. And if I don't, then I'll pivot, but I'll already be in New York and I'll figure it out.
I love that you just had so much faith in trying something new, and you gave yourself a timeline and stayed the course. So now fast forward 5 years later, you're working for Serhant. You're working for a very prestigious team. How are you feeling today? What's your career like? What is your life like now that you made the plunge?
My career and my life have exceeded what I was even envisioning back then. I think I had a gut feeling that it would be right for me, and my intuition told me to go for it without knowing what it would ultimately look like. But I've definitely surpassed what I thought was possible for myself. I have so many things in my life now: my career, my friends, my partner, different collaborations that I do, day-to-day moments in my life where sometimes I just get stopped in my tracks and I think backwards and I'm like, I couldn't have even dreamed of experiencing all of these things. And I still feel like I'm just getting started.
I absolutely agree with you. And I think a lot of times when people even consider pivoting into working for themselves, there's this fear of like, will I know what to do? Or what does that really look like? What does my day-to-day look like? And after doing it for some time, I know I feel the same way as you do, where I just look around and I mean, I'm just looking around today and like we're in this beautiful studio in the heart of New York City. And there's so many prestigious people that are excited about being on this podcast. And if you had told me in the start of my like founder journey that I would be here today, I would have never been able to dream that. And I think that's something that is such an important lesson for our listeners is anything that you can dream, you can do. And also it's okay to outgrow your dreams and to build new ones because there's newer versions of you that wants things that the old version never even knew she had the opportunity to achieve.
Totally.
And so like, what would you advise younger people listening to this in helping them discern what those dreams are and like how to really pursue those dreams? Because I think there's a difference between like, oh, I dream about this, or I really wish I could do this versus like actually taking those steps to make that dream come true.
So I don't have like a one size fits all type of advice that I would give anyone. But I know that what worked for me was really pausing and sitting with myself for a few months and doing some extensive personal development and soul searching work to figure out what really is the most important thing to me. And I think a lot of times people are chasing specific career or job goals. And what I thought about was, what is the lifestyle I want? What are like some core priorities that I need to have in my life that will make me happy? And then I started to look at, okay, what is the type of job and city and things in my life that could help support those priorities. So I think, I guess the advice I would give is sit with yourself, block out the noise, and as much as you can, just really dig inside and figure out what it is that you really, really want the most. And also allow for it to change because like you said, when you're at a certain place and you're thinking of the next level where you want to be, once you get there, then you have the next path ahead of you and more goals that you couldn't envision or desire when you were back at that smaller version of yourself. So allow it to morph and evolve with you as you grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's so beautiful to like move to a new place. I think like anytime you move away from where you grew up, you grow as a human. And I know you've experienced a rapid amount of growth in a very short period of time. Reilly's now a new mom. So how does that fit into this whole picture of building your dream life, being an entrepreneur in one of the biggest cities in the world?
I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah.
I'm still figuring
By the way, how old is he now?
He's 7 months tomorrow.
Oh my God. So Oliver's 7 months tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I remember when he was born.
Yes, you do.
That is insane. So you have
Yeah.
a 7-month-old baby.
He's 7 months.
And you run your business full time. How do you do it?
I didn't stop working. I don't know how I do it. I just figure out day to day what I need to be focused on. I think even before he was born, I really felt like my plate started to be overflowing and I started to get more critical about what I want to be on my plate and saying yes to fewer things. And again, going inside and figuring out, okay, what is truly the most important? Where am I going to get the biggest ROI, whether personal or professional, and choosing to remove things from my plate. But now him being in the world has forced that on me to a level that I didn't even comprehend back then. So he's been a big blessing in many ways. He's so cute. But I think the biggest thing for how he's affected my life positively is that I do not have time to waste anymore. I have a lot less time than I would like to have for a lot of things. So it's made me really focused and really intentional about how I'm spending my time purposefully.
For our listeners, I am friends with Reilly in real life. So we talk a lot about how do we set boundaries and how do we know how to say no? I think no is a very hard question, especially for individuals who are highly accommodating people or in the service business where it's very much a yes, whatever you need, we'll make it happen. Like, how do you learn to say no when the first instinct is to like go through this emotional like mess of, am I doing the right thing? Am I saying the right thing? Am I gonna like impact this relationship? How do you make those decisions for yourself? What advice would you give to someone struggling with that?
I think it's a work in progress, but I've definitely made significant progress to where I even was a few years ago, especially in my early career. Because I'm a real estate agent and everything that I do is based on my individual client work, which is, I know you can relate to. I have to be available for people and for my clients, oftentimes on their schedules, which is after work or on the weekends. And so technically it's a 24/7 job, but I'm grateful to be in a place now where I can be more discerning with my time and tell earlier on where and who I should be investing my time and energy into.
That's okay. I think a question that like popped into my head right now as you're sharing that is when you talk about that in a professional space, now that you're a mommy, a lot of your relationships in general are impacted. So how are you learning to adjust, and how are your like relationships adjusting around you? Like what's showing up for you? So I know that a lot of women listening to this are in the era of like very young children, navigating a career, navigating a partnership, and also navigating just like feeling like themselves still. Like where are you at in the journey, and like what do you wish someone had warned you about before jumping in this?
All of the above very much still
Yes.
fits the bill.
Yes.
I think you really learn a lot about who is truly your friend and who truly cares about you when you have a baby, because how they show up, how consistently they show up, really, it just puts a magnifying glass on people's true colors. And so it's been a really wonderful lesson in who my real friends are and who really cares about me. Even when, I don't actually have any friends with babies. I know like a few people that have babies in New York. So if you're listening and you have a baby, hit me up.
Mommy
I need mom friends. I need mom friends.
Cool mom vlogs, soft lunch.
You heard it here first. So the way that certain friends like yourself have been able to show up not being moms and just check in on me, make sure that I'm filling my cup both, with my baby and outside and on more personal level, has meant the world to me. And it's literally those moments that can like make a break or day for me if it's, hard or he hasn't slept well or all the things that happen with a baby. So I think to answer your question, having a baby really clarifies who and what matter and really care and are worth it. And so that's been, I think, the biggest kind of like lesson for me in the last 7 months.
Amazing. I love to hear that. And then like kind of switching back into career mode, right? You're not just a real estate agent. You also work in a very high profile brokerage, and you also create content often. So how do you show up online for your buyers and sellers in a way that's authentic to you? And how did you learn to define who you were going to be as an agent in New York when, in my opinion, it's a very saturated space here?
It's very saturated. And I've never liked fitting in. I've never really fit into one specific place my whole life, but I actually chose the brokerage that I'm at now because it's very media focused and very out there and loud. And I think it permits and encourages agents to really put ourselves out there in a very authentic, raw way that exemplifies ourselves. Whereas a lot of other brokerages or traditional models of the real estate business encourage people to kind of follow a very specific playbook. But when I look at your traditional successful real estate broker, it's typically the opposite of me.
So like not everyone's watching the video. So like what is opposite of you? Like describe yourself. Like how would you show up?
Well, opposite of me is a middle-aged man in a suit who's had a lot of privilege throughout his life. And, I'm more of a casual person. I like to be real. I like to be grounded. I don't think that I'm better than other people. I don't think other people are better than me. There's a lot of ego in real estate, and I have no interest in having to show up as anything other than myself in spaces in order to be perceived as valuable and trustworthy. And so it can be hard because I do find myself comparing, especially early in my career, I found myself comparing myself to other more successful real estate agents, trying to figure out how to do it and how to be in this business. And that gets really icky and old and tired, and it's not sustainable. The only thing that is sustainable in life, I think, is being ourselves. And so the way I try to show up in person with my clients and online is being very giving and just being very honest and myself and as raw as I can be.
By the way, you're never going to find Reilly in a traditional like pantsuit at an open house. She's usually in like this cool wide leg trousers, some like awesome belt. I mean, you're looking at her on camera now, but this is very much how like Reilly dresses every day. She's got great style and she really just shows up as herself. And in my mind, it's like you're the epitome of who I would want as my real estate agent, which by the way, like you obviously will be when I'm ready to buy my beautiful brownstone one day.
Oh.
We're manifesting
Do we have
that
plans?
too. We have plans, right? But I just think that like because of how you show up, because you're unique, you're also memorable. And I think in a market that's oversaturated, you've become someone, even in your content, you're really able to show up authentically. You give real advice. You show both sides of the process for people. You break things down very like simply. It's very digestible. And I really enjoy that part of like who you are as your friend. Not just because I am the first one to like comment on every single thing, because I am that friend.
Literally.
I will be that friend
Always
for
the
anyone.
first. You and Nachi.
Yes, but also it's just, I think that when we talk about building a business, you are your brand and like you show up authentically both on and off camera. And that's what's brought you to where you are today. And you're just so real in sharing who you are and how you're evolving as a mommy, as a partner, as this businesswoman who is still hungry and driven to grow. And I mean, I love that you still dream big and you inspire everyone to dream big around you. So thank you so much for being on the pod. If people want to follow you and also be first to comment on your reels and comment and all your things, where can they find you online?
I'm mostly on Instagram and LinkedIn, working on other platforms, TBD. On Instagram, my handle is Reilly Burles. It's part of my first name, part of my last name, Reiburls. Reilly Burleigh-Andrews on LinkedIn. And my email is reilly@sirhant.com if you're looking to buy or sell in Brooklyn or Manhattan.
Love that. Okay, and should we play some rapid fire questions?
Sure. Let's do it.
Yes. Okay. Ooh, I have some good questions here for you. Are you
I
ready?
can see that brewing on your face.
It's always brewing. What is your favorite self-care treat that you give yourself?
Oh gosh, Victoria, I wish I remembered what it's like to give myself self-care. Okay, honestly, I can say this because I did it today and it is the one thing I do consistently every month is face gym.
I was going to say,
Which I put you on to, right?
Yeah, I was like, I know these answers.
You knew it before I did. Self-care is a fleeting thing when you have a baby, but face gym is amazing. I love it.
That's why you
so
look so
relaxing.
snatched. So like
I stay snatched for 2 days a month when I
lymphatic drainage for the win.
go to face gym. Yeah, I love face gym. It's great. And they have a great membership option.
I love it. If you are cooking a meal for your family, what is your go-to? Reilly makes this so good, and I feed my people with it.
The hard questions. I don't have a lot of time to cook lately. Probably, well, I'm a very seasonal cooker. I also really love simple meals lately because time is a scarce resource. But during the summer and spring, I love to make a really solid, like protein-filled salad. I used to hate salad. I generally hate salad unless there's a ton of stuff in it that tastes really good. So that's probably my favorite thing to do when it's warm outside. And then in the winter, soup, any kind of soup.
I love soup. Okay.
Yeah.
Cozy. Very cozy. Where do you love to like go to New York? What's like your little secret spot? Can you tell us? Not touristy, just like a beautiful New York moment if someone was looking for that. Where would your place be?
I'm a sucker for views. I always have been. I used to travel the world prior to living in New York and always want to get up to a high vantage point. And in New York, you actually don't need to be at a high vantage point to have an amazing view. So I love walking any sort of waterfront along either river. So I'm really blessed to work in real estate because I get to get really high up in a lot of buildings. And so I get to see the city from different angles. And that's probably kind of my favorite, like secret place to be because a lot of times I'll be like the only person or one of two people up on a rooftop.
Yeah, you see it.
Stare, mesmerized at the city.
Beautiful. And Reilly, how do you mind your own business?
How do I mind my own business? I think that's a really great question once again. I think I mind my business cyclically, if that makes sense. It depends on the chapter that I'm in. And right now, the way I am working on being more intentional about minding my own business is spending every minute very purposefully, making sure that everything that I do is on purpose and not wasting my time as best as I can. I'm still addicted to scrolling and working on that, but being really purposeful in everything that I do and making sure that it's aligned with a purpose that I have coming from within myself, not from all the noise outside.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you. Thank you everyone for listening. We'll be back next Tuesday for another episode with another founder. And thank you so much again.
Thank you for having me.
You're the
This was
best.
fun.